Hey everyone, this is going to be a hopefully quick video on assembly of this Harbor Freight US General service cart with a drawer. So I'll get started with an unboxing. Everything, got the drawer in the box section, looks like the top, the bottom tray, the legs, handles, wheels, and fasteners. So all the main components are definitely here. Hopefully I got all the fasteners I need. Assembly looks pretty straightforward. It's just 2 pages. So really just, I think, figuring out which bolts go where, putting it all together, a bunch of fasteners, and then you're left with a nice cart. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So let's see. First step looks like is to attach the casters to the bottom piece. So that's going to be the piece over there that does not have the US General logo on it. So I'll get started with that. So it looks like I got all the fasteners I needed. The only discrepancy I see is instead of having 20 of these bigger lock nuts, which are the M8s, I've got 16, and then I've got 4, I'm guessing, M8 nuts and lock washers. So everything else is lining up exactly to what this parts list says. So I think all the tools you're gonna need for this are just some sort of a ratchet or maybe a screw nut driver. But you're gonna need a 14 millimeter. You're gonna need a 13 millimeter and a 10 millimeter socket for these different nuts. And you're also gonna need a screwdriver because the heads of these bolts are have a Phillips head. So I've also got a crescent wrench. I don't think I'll need this, but just in case. All right, so to put the wheels on the bottom, just real quick, I'll be using these bolts, number 11, that they've got the little square underneath the head. We're using washers and lock nuts. It's a pretty straightforward putting the wheels on the bottom. Really just make sure that when you put the bolts in the top here, they sit all the way flush. They have a little square head underneath here that needs to sit inside of a square hole. Make sure you put your washer on first, and then your locking nut. Make sure the blue plastic is facing outwards. And then just once you got them all on hand tight, you can come in with your 13 millimeter socket and tighten all these up. So I'll do that next. The only other thing to remember here is, 2 of these casters are free swivel and 2 of them are locking. So they'll lock the wheel if you hit the switch. So just make sure you put the 2 locking ones on one side and 2 free ones on the other. Okay, so that was step 2 and 3, getting the wheels on. Step 4 is gonna be attaching the upper shelf, which is again the one that has the brand name on it, onto the drawer system. So this isn't showing the drawer installed, but mine came with the drawer in it, so I'm just gonna, well, I might have to take it out actually in order to get to these nuts to screw that down. So I'll do that next, pull the drawer out, and then install the top. Okay, so it looks like I can get to, so I've just got the top tray on here. Just laid it on there, line up these holes in the top here. There we go. Make sure all 4 of them are lined up pretty close. But you can see I can reach my hand in here if I just open the drawer a little bit. Reach your hand up there. I can get my finger right there. So I'm gonna try to get this installed without pulling the drawer completely out. The only thing here to think about is I'm gonna be using no lock washers here, or no locking nuts. So I'm gonna put the nut and the washer on the bottom like that. Coming in the top, I'm gonna put this bolt and the locking nut, or I'm sorry, locking washer. I'm gonna put that under the bolt and drop that in through the top in those 4 holes there. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I've got the 4 bolts dropped in and the washer nut underneath. I'm gonna use a 14 millimeter wrench to hold the nut underneath and side while I tighten it with the 14 millimeter socket from the top. Okay, so I had to change it hard. I did these 3 first, and just the way I was talking about with the locking washer and the bolt. I didn't like how kind of high they stand off. For this last one, I just did the just the bolt through the top. Through the bottom, I did the locking washer, then a flat washer, and then the nut. So I think I like this approach better. So I'm gonna do the other ones like this. I'm just gonna have the bolt coming in from the top, like that, and then from the bottom, I'll do the washer first, then the locking washer, and then the nut. So it'll stack up like this, you know, from the bottom. So the flat washer will be touching the bottom inside of the drawer. So I'm gonna do that with this one and then take these 2 apart, do the same thing. All right, so I got the top installed there with just the bolts. Again, just did that because I like the lower profile instead of having the lock washer up here too. One other thing, it was pretty hard to get my hand up underneath there. So if you do want to take this drawer out, all you gotta do is on each side it has this little black lever. Just pull that little lever up there. Same thing on this side. So put both of your fingers there, pull this lever. Oh, actually, this one goes down, I think. And if you actuate those levers and pull, this drawer should come out, and you can have a lot easier time accessing the inside there. All right, so next step says to lock the swivel caster, so I guess it doesn't roll around. And then we're gonna put the legs on, so I'll go ahead and do that next. Looks pretty straightforward. I think I'm gonna lay it on its back to do this, but basically we're just gonna be using these small bolts with the Phillips head, small washers and small nuts, and you can use the screwdriver. I think the only thing it tells you to do is don't put the bolts in the 2 outside holes in the top because the handles are going to go there in the next step. But all the other holes in the leg, go ahead and install those. So let's see. The only thing is, it looks like the bolt goes on the outside and the washer and the lock nut go on the inside. So go ahead and do that next. Okay, so I got the first 8 bolts in, and again, it's not hard to do, a little tedious. If you're gonna do it the way I'm doing it with it laying on its back, if you saw, I was standing kind of with one leg on the inside, one leg on the outside here. If you kind of push on this side to tilt this way, it makes it easier for these bolts to reach the nuts. But anyways, it's again not hard, just a little tedious. But yeah, we're gonna leave these without the bolts in until the end because the handles go there, but all the rest I'm gonna go ahead and do, and hopefully this thing will flip over easy so I can do the other legs. We'll see. Okay, so I've got all the bolts in except for the 4 on this outside, 4 on the other outside where the handles go. Everything's just hand tight right now. I'm trying to stand it up now to see if it stands up without falling apart. Get this right there. It's still pretty wobbly. Okay. So there it is.
Can I have the video?
And now, now I'll put the handles on, and once I get the handles loose in, then I'll go kind of start from the bottom up and tighten everything down, make sure it's straight and level and everything. Okay, so I'm actually gonna wait to put the handle in because once you put the handle in, I don't think I'll be able to access these nuts on the inside. So I'm at least gonna tighten these up first. I should probably tighten everything up and then put the handles in last. All right, so before I put the handles in, this does come with 2 felt pads, which is one question I had that I didn't see on the box or anything. So one goes in the top, and I think the other one goes inside the drawer there. But I'm gonna put the felt pad in first before I put the handles in. One thing I'm realizing though is that the handles don't just slide in. It's actually hard to get in this spot here because they're hitting the nuts on either side. So I'm gonna have to like force it in between these nuts and then put the bolts in here. So I'll work on that next. All right, so that's it completed. I don't know if you could tell in the time-lapse video, but these handles I really had to really pound on them with my hand and beat them in. If you've got a rubber mallet or something, maybe that'll help to get these in. But there's really, I mean, they're, you know, right up against the nuts here. So I don't know if that's by design or what, but it was tough to get these pushed into place. But once they were in, I was able to get the bolts in pretty easily. But yeah, I was glad that I put this felt in before. It does come with a set of keys for this. Lock it if you want. Again, it does come with a felt pad, it looks like, for the inside of here. So yeah, pretty nice. Got this, I think it was $130. I got it $20 off for joining the Insider Track Club, so it was $110. So feels pretty sturdy. I think I'll be able to hold what we need it for. So yeah, all in all, happy with it. So hopefully this was helpful if you're trying to put one together.